Ooh, I need to teach elementary music this year. That's different. I've never taught elementary music. I've taught middle school and high school music, but I've never taught elementary. I don't know what to do. Hope it's the same. I don't know that it's the same. I don't think it's the same. Let me see what I remember from when I was a student teacher. Oh, it's definitely not the same. I really don't know where to start. Oh no. My friend, there's no need to worry. I've got you covered. I've been teaching elementary music for about 28 years now, and I have lots of tips and tricks that I can share with you. Come on, let's get started. Hello, and welcome to my channel where we talk about tips and tricks for teaching elementary music. If you are a new elementary music teacher and this is going to be your first year teaching anything, this video is for you. If you are somebody who taught secondary music for many years and is now back in the elementary classroom or in the elementary music classroom for the first time, this video is for you. Today, I want to share with you 15 tips on how to teach elementary music. Now, each one of these tips that I'm going to go over, I have covered more extensively in videos on my channel. So be sure to check out other videos on my channel if you want more information. But I'm going to try to be as concise as I can just to give you quick bullet points of what you need to know in order to have a good, successful beginning of the school year as an elementary music teacher. Okay, here we go. Tip number 1, find out what your district requires of you as far as music. If you have a music director or supervisor in your district, if you have mentors in your district that are for all music teachers, or if you're really lucky, you have them for elementary music teachers, find out from those people, are there specific lesson plan formats I need to use? Are there specific things I need to have in my classroom? Does my classroom need to be set up a certain way? Am I expected to give a certain amount of grades? You need to find out all the expectations from your district so that you know where to go from there. Tip number 2, classroom setup. If your district doesn't have a required classroom setup, but maybe just have suggestions, like you could do rows or you could do semicircles with a couple rows, then that's when you get to make your choice of what you want to do. So figure out what works best in your space. Maybe play around with setting up the chairs a couple different ways. And it's okay if week 1, if you have them set up in a certain way, like let's say in little semicircles, and you decide that that is just not going to work with how you teach and it's better for you to do rows, it's okay with week 2 if you switch to rows. But I would say whatever you choose to do, keep it at least for a week so you can really see how it works with every single class and with all of the activities that you're going to do, and see if you need any adjustments at that point. Tip number 3, instruments. Start out with the basics. Every single student should have access to rhythm sticks. Most music rooms in the elementary world have a ton of rhythm sticks of all sorts of varieties. It doesn't matter whether they're wood, plastic, ridged, straight, painted. Just get some rhythm sticks in your students' hands as a basic instrument. And I would also encourage you to have one other instrument that's a shaking instrument accessible to each student. If you don't have enough tambourines, say for 25 students, if that's what you have in your class at that time, that's okay. Maybe you have enough for half of that, and then you have some maracas for the other half. Just so the students can have a variety of, here's a striking instrument, here's a shaking instrument. So they get that sense of how to play something different and the difference in sound. Step number 4, rules and consequences and rewards. Before day 1 of teaching, you need to sit down and decide what your rules and consequences and rewards need to be. You can keep them as simple as you want. I would encourage you not to make your consequences something that you can't follow through on. It needs to be something you are willing to do and follow through on. Same with your rewards. Don't put down for your rewards that they get to have a party every 5 weeks if they do really well in music class, because that's going to take away your music instruction. It's going to cause you to have to buy a lot of stuff to bring in and all of that. So really think about rules, consequences, and rewards. And as much as students do love tangible rewards like a pencil, a sticker, or candy, intangible rewards work as well. They get to do an extra dance song. That's one of the things that I do in my classroom. Extra time on instruments. Students do like getting to do extra music activities that they normally wouldn't get to do a second one of on a regular day. Connected to tip number 4 is routines and procedures. You do need to have a routine procedure for every single thing you do in your classroom. Like, this is how we pick up instruments. This is how we pick up instruments. This is how we put them away. This is where rest position is. This is how we walk to a dancing spot. This is how we line up. You need to figure out routines and procedures that work best for you. You are probably not going to figure all of those out before day 1. That can be an on-the-job, figuring it out, seeing what works, trying this routine the first time, seeing if you like it. Maybe you pick up something else along the way, you adjust it a little bit, and so on. So just remember that you will have to figure out routines and procedures, but that doesn't have to be done day 1. You can figure that out as you go along. But keep that in mind as you're saying, pick up your 6th that first time. Hey, how do I think I want them to hold that? Where do I think for mine, rest position is here. Same with the maracas. Anything that's small enough that can fit on your shoulder. For the tambourine, rest position would be on the lap. Same with like the triangle. Okay, so anything like that. So just think about those things. Tip number 5, lesson structure. Decide how you want to structure your lesson. Now remember, if you remember from tip number 1, I said make sure that your district, you know everything that your district expects as far as lesson plans, as far as what their expectations are of what you're supposed to teach when, because some districts might be very free and say, here's your objectives for the year, cover them however you want, and some might be more tailored to different things on different 9-week periods or semesters. So you just need to find those things out. But once you know that, structure your lesson in a way that makes sense to you, that fits within those parameters. And I would encourage you to have the same lesson format every single class period, every single grade level. For example, if you are going to dance with every single grade level at some point in their lesson, put it in the same part of the lesson so that you're not going, what's next? You will soon get very used to that routine. So if you go like steady beat, sing a song, do some rhythm reading, let's dance, let's sing a new song, that's my lesson structure. So you will get very familiar with that routine and you will know where that is at each time. Okay, we just finished doing our rhythm reading. I know that I'm going into a dance song, so I don't have to stop and think what's next or refer to the lesson plan so much, the written one. Now, this is something you are going to be doing ongoing throughout the school year. As an elementary music teacher, you probably have access to some curriculum that your district has provided. There are only about 2 or 3 companies out there, maybe 4 or 5 if you start counting the ones that are interactive and online only, companies out there that have full curriculums for like kindergarten through 5th grade music. Your district might even have access to more than one of them. I encourage you to start with one, just one, pick whichever curriculum you want to start with, and just look for a couple of songs for each grade level. So you just, whether you have a physical book you're looking through, whether you're listening to the audio, just kind of scan quickly and go, okay, I think I can make this work. I think I can make this work. Get 2 or 3 songs per grade level kind of written down or put in a Google Doc or however you want to keep track of it so that you're like, okay, I've got 3 songs picked out for kindergarten right here. This is something you are going to want to keep returning back to. You don't have to necessarily keep it in a Google Doc. The fact that you put it in your lesson plan and you can refer back to your lesson plan. Will let you know, okay, I did the alphabet song with kindergarten this week, and that turned out pretty well. So I'll remember that that's the song I did. But you do need to go through that curriculum and pick out songs. Now, don't be afraid to use the same song for multiple grade levels. For example, the alphabet song that we all know. If you find it in the kindergarten book, don't be afraid to use it for first grade, especially that first week or two of class. It's a song that they're familiar with. They probably like to sing it. They're going to feel comfortable doing it. It'll help them to jump in and perform music that they're maybe not familiar with yet. It just helps with familiarity. But if you're going to do that with kindergarten, you are probably going to be teaching it from scratch because, yes, are you going to have some kindergarten students that would know the alphabet song? Sure. I'm sure if they've gone to daycare, if their parents have played kids' music for them, that they probably learned that song before. But you might have some students that have never heard it. You might have some students that don't remember the words or don't remember the alphabet order. And plus, you're also trying to encourage them to sing correctly as well. So don't be afraid to do the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just without music, and try to get them to sing it a little bit that way too, and then go ahead and sing it with the music, and by music I mean the accompaniment recording. But then when you teach that same song to first grade, you're probably not going to reteach it. You can make an assumption that at least 90% of your students know that song, and just go ahead and turn it on and start singing it and see who really does kind of know it and is singing out, and encourage them to sing out. And that's your time to kind of listen around the room with the first graders and be like, okay, this student really knows these lyrics, or this student maybe not so much, but this student listens to their intonation, and this student is right in tempo with the music, and so on. Bottom line, if you're going to use the same song in more than one grade level, you do need to tailor that song to each grade level's abilities. Tip number 7, keep it simple, especially that first month of school. You are going to be exhausted. You are going to find that teaching anywhere from 25 to 30 classes, hopefully it's not 30, I hope you have some planning time, but anywhere from 25 to 30 classes a week, different classes, all 5 grade levels, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and if you're at some districts, maybe even 6th as well, that you are going to be really tired because you've had a whole summer off. You've got to get back in shape of singing all day long. And if you're not a singer to begin with, that could be a problem as well. Just getting used to using your voice all day long for talking and singing. Take as many talking breaks as you can. Drink a lot of water, but keep everything simple. Reuse the same song in multiple lessons. So going back to that alphabet song. So week 1, maybe I teach it to kindergarten as a singing song. The next week, I bring it back and we play instruments to it. We play the maracas and the sticks. The week after that, maybe it's a song that I play right when they come in the room that we sing along with just to kind of get us ready for music, but I'm not teaching the song. It's an already familiar song to them by that point. So reuse the same song so that you're not having to find 5, 6, 7 songs per grade level per week that are new all the time. Keep it simple. Your students should be moving every single class period. That includes body percussion, that includes hand motions, that includes actually getting up and doing physical dancing. The more you keep them moving, the less problems there will be. So if you're doing a dance song, don't pick out a dance song for each grade level. If you found a dance song that works great for K, chances are pretty good first grade will be fine with it too, especially the first month of school. They're still they're just older kindergarten students until they get to about late October. Same thing with 3rd grade. If you find a great dance song that you think works with 3rd grade, why not use it for 4th? Why not use it for 2nd? So think of keeping things simple and streamlining as much as you can. Tip number 8, follow the district lesson plans. Chances are pretty good that if your district does not have a music lesson plan format, that they have a district-wide lesson plan format or maybe a school-wide lesson plan format. That's another reason why you need to make sure you know what the district expectations are for music. So if you have a lesson plan format, even if it's something that does not work for you, because let's be honest, most lesson plans are there for administration and observations only. Most of us as music teachers, we only need a song list. And maybe next to the song list, okay, teach form with this, teach dance with this, teach rhythm with this. That's really all we need. We do not need all of this Bloom's taxonomy and 15 different objectives and all of these essential questions. We really don't need all that as music teachers to do what we do in music. It's just written proof that we can fit into the education world when we have that. And you do have to have lesson plans. Absolutely have to have lesson plans. You will get in trouble if you don't. But make sure you know what the lesson plan format is and do your best to tailor what you're doing to fit into that lesson plan format so that you have it to give to administration. But one thing I do want to say about lesson plans, there's always an objectives box on the lesson plan on all of the formats. And we as elementary music teachers who teach anywhere from 5 to 8 different activities within a given class period will probably hit about 15 different objectives if we are really looking at all those objectives and seeing, did we hit any of them? Principals don't want to see that. So only put about 4 or 5 objectives on your lesson plan format, whatever it is. Stick with something about moving, stick with something about singing, stick with something about playing. And if you have anything that's about form, like learning the introduction or something like that, you could throw that up there, or learning about rhythm reading, if you're covering those things in the first few weeks. This is tip number 9, seating charts. Do not waste your time doing them before the students come in. If you're an elementary music teacher, you probably teach about 500 students. If you want to take your time that week before you have students, when you're still setting up your classroom and trying to get things ready, to write out a seating chart for every single class, that is a time waster. Because these students, half of them, especially kindergarten, they don't know their last names automatically when they hear it called. So if you are sitting there putting them in alphabetical order, that is not going to work. What you do is when the teacher brings them, the classroom teacher brings them, or if you go pick them up, however it is, hopefully the teacher has lined up the students beforehand. They come into your classroom, whatever order they come in, I have them follow the leader, and I sit the first person in chair 1, in chair 2, in chair 3, and so on. And then at some point, it doesn't have to be right away. Usually what I'll do is I will sing a song first, just to kind of get them into music. And then after I sing that song, I'll say, okay, I'm going to call everybody's name nice and loud, and I need you to call out your chair number for me so I can write down where you're sitting. And that's when you just take the time to just go down the roster that's in alphabetical order, and you say, so-and-so, chair 9, and put a 9 next to it, and just go on down that way. And then you can take that information and translate it into your diagram that you've made of a seating chart, or however you want to do your seating chart with rows or boxes. Also, make sure you put that seating chart in pencil, because you might be moving students later on if you find that there's behavior issues, and you could have students move away and students move in. If you didn't write chair number 1's name in pencil, and they're gone, and somebody comes in and you want to put them in chair 1, you got to cross out that pen name, and it just gets really messy. And so just trust me on this, write it in pencil. Tip number 10, put your schedule in multiple locations. You will have different classes every day. The grade levels don't always come at a specific time, like it's not always on the hour or on the half hour. Sometimes it's weird times like 10:17. or some odd number like that, because that's what works with fitting in everybody for lunch and recess and all the other master schedule things that they need to do. So just trust me on this. Print your schedule out, put it on multiple locations. I usually have one on my desk. I usually put one on top of my piano, because that's where my where I kind of hang out with my stuff is on my piano top. And then I put one near the door, taped to a file cabinet that's near the door, so that I can see it as I'm waiting for the classes to come, so I can double check the time and double check who it is that I'm waiting for to come. So just print out multiple schedules. Tip number 11, if you are going to teach elementary chorus, and by the way, I do not have a video on elementary chorus yet on this channel. I will be doing that soon within the next couple of months. But back to what I was saying. If you are going to teach elementary chorus, I suggest that you have enough printed out music for them to do about 3 to 5 songs on that very first day. Does not mean that you're going to go through all 3 to 5 songs, but if you have 3 to 5 songs printed out in paper format, yes, I know, we're trying to get away from using a lot of paper, but I'll explain that in a moment. In paper format, and hopefully in a folder, and it does not have to be a fancy folder. It can be just a simple pocket folder, and that are different colors or however you want to do it, and put the child's name on it, whether you want to write it in pencil or marker or however you want to write it. You can even have the students write their name on it themselves. But if you have that music ready to go in that folder, it says to these students, okay, this is a different class than general music class, for one. For two, I have my own stuff that I have to take care of and I kind of have ownership of. The folders are going to stay in your classroom. They're not going to go with them, because half of them will not bring them back. And if you needed to add something later, they're right there for you to add. But the folders are there, and you already have 3 to 5 songs on there that's your repertoire that you're starting out with, that you can work through for those first few weeks or so of school. Now, the reason that I say that you really need to give chorus paper is chorus needs to have that feeling of holding the music in their hands and tracking by themselves, and not having you point it out on the smart board like you're doing with kindergarten through 4th grade, if you have one, if you have a smart board. But they need to have that sense of tracking by themselves. If it's copy paper and it's not in a book, then if you want them to take a pencil and circle things, like if you're telling them find the first and second ending or something like that, that they can find that and circle it, and they can even write notes if you want them to write notes on the music. So it's just really a good idea for them to have their own piece of paper music notated that they can have access to and make notes on. Tip number 12, have all of your music and your visuals ready to go before the students enter the room. Whether you want to make a playlist, whether you want to make a Google slide presentation, whether you want to have construction paper pieces with information on it, whether you want to have chart paper, however you want to do it. Whatever it is, make sure you have it all ready to go before they come in the room. Which leads me to tip number 13. You got to keep it moving. The faster your transitions are, the fewer your discipline problems will be. So if your music is already ready to go, if you've already got the notation up, if you've already got the instruments ready, like in baskets under their chair, let's say, and all they have to do is pick up those sticks, and they don't have to get out of their seat to get something, and the music is ready to go, then you're just going on to the next thing. 14, follow through with your rules, consequences, and rewards. If your rule says, I will keep my instrument quiet until we are ready to play, and people are playing their instruments left and right, and you don't take any instruments away, then the students know that you don't mean that. So you've got to follow through. If your rewards say, once you get to this many points, we're gonna do, I don't know, have an extra dance in class, and you never give them the extra dance, the students will notice that. So follow through on your rules, consequences, and rewards. That's why you need to take time to think about them beforehand and make sure that they are something that you can live with and follow through with. Number 15, don't be afraid to ask for help. You can ask for help from anyone in your building. For music things, obviously, if you have a district music person or music mentors, go to them. But if it's things in your building, like when is that faculty meeting? When is that assignment due to the principal? When is that discipline plan due? When is the SMART goal due? What time do the students get here in the morning? When do I have to be on duty? How do I fill out a leave form? Ask for help. People in your building, teachers, administrators, office workers, they want to work together as a team and they will help you out. Find people and ask them for help. Don't be afraid to do it. My last tip for you is to have fun. Elementary music is such a fun thing to do. You can sing silly songs, you can tell silly stories, you will hear the silliest jokes your students want to share with you. Dad jokes have nothing on these elementary students when they come to jokes. And they will give you laughter and you will give them joy with being able to have fun and play instruments and sing and dance. That's all for now. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe. And remember, all of the points that I talked about, there's a video on my channel that will go into more depth if you're interested. Have a wonderful day.